Welcome to Reno, Nevada. When you think of Reno, Nevada, you think big buildings, bright lights, fast cars, and casinos. Lots of casinos. Oh, they got them. But did you know that they also have ducks? Remember, we're in the Pacific Flyway, and the guys around here are very serious waterfowlers, and they've got ducks, lots of ducks. And with ducks come dogs, lots of dogs, good dogs, jumping dogs, hunting dogs, and handlers.
I want to take the opportunity to welcome everybody to Reno, Nevada, the first stop of the Super Retriever Series.
Welcome to Reno, Nevada. The SRS is where it's at.
Here we are at the High Desert Waterfowl Classic just outside of Reno. There's a little town there called Carson City, Nevada. And here lies the playing field for our retriever trials. And Justin Tackett, this is getting to be real dramatic here.
It's good stuff here, man. Don't sell this place short. These guys know ducks. They know dogs. They're very strong. Great place to run a trial. Setups are everywhere. The judges have had a blast putting this stuff together.
You know, they've been very creative here, but then they've had a lot to work with, including an almost ideal water spot.
When we first came to this water, we saw this channel, and we knew we had to use it. This is a highly effective technical mark right here. You've got a winding channel with water on the left, water on the right. And by throwing the mark across the channel, you can influence the dog pretty heavily one way or the other.
Judges did an outstanding job. Jeremiah Harson put together a very good all-age stake type white coat scenario. It was a wrecking ball. Tore up the guys, but look at the girl up front.
Wendy Pennington and her dog Kit, Callie, and Slide all there in the top three with 4 faults. Now let's go to the field, Justin.
In stark contrast to what we had in the first series where we had a white coat field trial type scenario, the judges have thrown together a real hunting scenario here. Lots of heavy cover, and I'm talking about 6 foot, 8 foot high tules, big wind coming off the left shoulder, the thermals are rising. The dogs that ran last in this test, it was very difficult on them. You had to have a very savvy dog, a handler that was relaxed, understood exactly what challenges were in place. I'm telling you, the dogs that came out of the first and the second series were excellent dogs.
And the leaderboard changed dramatically, just like the terrain did. Here's the way it looked. You actually had 29 faults as the leader with Scott Greer and Addie.
And we've got some exciting decisions coming along. We have 3 handlers who've qualified 3 dogs in the top 12. Now remember, SRS rules dictate they can only carry 2 each to the 3rd series. Decisions to be made.
I'd like to welcome you to the Reno SRS, first one of the season. Kick it off. We're glad to have you here. And it's really a joy that you come out west. We hope to get you out here more so we don't have to travel so much.
The Super Retriever Series is brought to you by Avery. Welcome to your life. Eukanuba. Make a good dog great. Sport Dog brand. Gear the way you design it. And by these fine sponsors: Ducks Unlimited, Zinc Calls, Creative Answer, Dog Lovers Wine Club, and by Silver Legacy Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to Carson City, Nevada. This is what they're all going for. This is the big loving cup that goes with today's championship. And now we have 3 handlers who had to make a choice. And you're seeing what Scott Greer, Lyle Steinman, and Chris Aiken have done. They had to choose between the 3 dogs they qualified. They could only take 2. But it was good news for TELLUS Calhoun and Steve Stevens. They both get bumped up into the top 12. So now they've got a shot at that big trophy we showed you just a second ago. Let's go to Justin Tackett.
Thanks, Craig, and welcome to the 3rd series. Our Sport Dog brand virtual course looks just like this. We got 2 down the shore, 160 and about 130. Very well placed marks. Come out here on the right side, you've got your 3rd bird at about 112, tucked in right behind the levee. Thread the needle at about 218 for your blind. But let me tell you what makes this difficult. We're at about 5,000 feet elevation. We've got muck, mud, water the whole way out. Some swimming, some lunging, some running water. Again, 5,000 feet. Most of these dogs are from the south. They're used to 500 feet above elevation at best. One of the other factors that the judges have taken into consideration is a wind. I'm talking a big wind. Thermals come off the mountains every afternoon. We're talking 25 to 30 mile an hour gust crosswind. These dogs are going to get it all day long in the left shoulder. It is not a great place to be running last today.
So that's why we're going to show you one of the most consistent performers on this tour, Scott Greer with his dog Candy. And we're going to give you a good illustration as to what these dogs are up against with this varying terrain and all of these obstacles that are thrown out there by these creative judges.
You're exactly right, Craig. And I'm telling you, what it's going to come down to is the juice in the tank. Think about this, 5,000 feet, this lunging water, there's nothing more taxing on a dog, nothing at all more taxing on a dog than lunging water. It's all going to come down to who wants the bird the worst.
Now, you often think of these dogs as being able to go forever, but that's not true because their concentration is going to be affected if they expend a lot of energy.
Exactly, because you think about this. We've got 4 birds in the field right now, or in the water. This is the short bird at 112 yards. This retrieve right here is going to take 3 minutes. So they come back, and then we've got a technical scenario on the left side with 2 down the shore where the birds fall in line. Only about 30, 40 yards difference in the placement there. So the dog has to really understand the concept, but be able to retain focus. And it's very hard to do that when your body's screaming, I need some oxygen.
Yeah,
I'm
really.
tired. I can't think. It's like, you know, when you see great basketball players that are clutch at the end of a game.
Somehow they're able to get that energy and that focus.
When
and that
everybody else can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to find out here. Who can do it? Who can hold it all together?
Now, Scott Greer, once again, has qualified 2 dogs for the finals, and this is the first time he's ever been able to do it. He's one of those handlers from the south who's having to cope with this higher altitude and not knowing the terrain like maybe somebody from the west. And the dogs are too. And so far, Candy seems to be handling it pretty well. Let's meet Scott and his family that he brought with him.
My name is Scott Greer. I'm from Friendship, Tennessee. To my right here is hunting retriever champion, North Fork's Itching to Go, master hunter. Her name is Candy. And on the left is HRCH, Lone Oak, Sweet Adeline, master hunter. And her call name's Addie. Candy is 4 and Addie's 5. This is my first time to actually have 2 dogs in the semis, and that's a real good feeling to have 2 shots at it.
And now as we pick it up again, Justin, Candy's starting to have some problems. She's up to 23 faults, and that concentration we were talking about starting to wane.
This is where the money bird comes in. This is where all the dogs, if they have any trouble, it will be on that 3rd bird down the shore. Now, okay, picked up the 1st bird, the 2nd bird, had a little tough time on the 3rd bird. But now we've got a 218-yard blind with a bunch of suction to the right, a bunch of suction to the left. He's got to thread the needle on this thing, hold it together. 31 is not a great score, but it's not a bad score.
That's amazing. 218 yards out there is a blind retrieve. First of all, even if it was out in the open, you couldn't see what you were going for. And for it to be a blind retrieve, that just doesn't seem right.
Oh, it's very difficult, but I tell you what, it's what you have to do to separate these kind of dogs. If not, we'd have a jumble of very good scores at the top. So the judges have done an outstanding job, starting with 100-plus dogs. They've whittled it down to 12. Nobody's got their lips stuck out. Everybody understands that the dogs that are there because they earned it.
And, you know, you talk to these handlers, they want a challenge. And, boy, Scott's got one. He's really blowing that whistle now.
If you'll notice, that water's kind of moving left to right. And as this day progresses, those thermals are going to come off the mountains, and the wind's going to come big and hit those dogs in the left shoulder. They've got to tuck that shoulder and drive into the wind and hold their lines.
All right, this is the blind retrieve. Let's see if Candy can get right to it. And Candy's got it. And we'll end this run with 37 faults. Not bad. We'll be back with more. We've moved to Sportsman's Warehouse for the SUPERV competition. Tell you what, let's meet a superstar.
My name is Melissa Ness. I'm from Ramona, California. I am an EMT firefighter with a fire department out in San Diego. Stryker is a 3-year-old Border Collie Malinois mix. He does many different things, everything from protection work to super vertical to super fly. What got me started? This guy came up and said, your dog's an incredible jumper, you should go try this. And 2 years ago, I went and flew to Stuttgart, Arkansas and tried the sport out, and it was freezing cold weather and my dog got off. We placed 3rd in that trial, and from there on, it's no looking back. I've had Stryker since he was 16 weeks old. He was actually a foster dog. He wasn't supposed to stay with me, but when I met him, I knew that there was something special about him. I said he had a month in my house, and a month led to today. Well, my ultimate goal is to hit the 8-foot mark. The dog has it in him. I just need to figure out what I need to do to get him there. As a handler, I just need to read him and give him the best shot that he has because he has it in there. I love the Super Retrievers. I love what everything about it, all aspects of it, from the retriever portion of it to the dock portion of it. Win, lose, or draw, I'm out to have fun. If I'm not having fun, then I shouldn't be playing the sport. Good boy. Good boy.
All right, we've got some competition now for Stryker. Justin, we've got Ursula Kinley bringing her dog Gunner. Ursula from California. Gunner's first jump here, trying at 6'2".
You know, everything you've said so far has been really impressive, but I want you to tell me where Ursula's from.
I knew you'd hit me with that. I'll tell you where the dog's going to land. Easily, making it 6'2". Milpitas, California?
I think that's it. Great
okay,
job.
Thank you.
She's got her work cut out for her. Gunner, very talented dog, and boom! There we go. You see me at the duck.
That's
This
it.
guy is unbelievable. He's off the hook.
Stryker schools Gunner, making 6'2" look like it's 4'1".
Now see if Gunner can hang in there. Maybe he's got something left. And you know what? I think he's new to the sport. He's got some talent here.
Oh, that was an attempt at 6'4".
Gets to try it again. Remember, he's got 2 tries here. Let's see if he can make it happen.
And the second attempt, here we go, at 6'4". Come on, Gunner.
Oh.
Goodbye, Gunner. And just like that, that's the cold, heartless part of the sport. You know, close doesn't count. All right, we're going to see if Stryker can get 7'4" easily. But Stryker would attempt 7'6", his own SRS record. Almost got it. Still, he wins the competition.
What are you going to do, man? The dog is just unbelievably talented. Back to the retriever.
Here we go with another real challenge out in the field, and we'd like to welcome to the line, this is Steve Stevens and his dog Whitney from Yucaipa, California. Did I get him on a roll here?
I mean, you're like a native West Coast dude. Incredible.
Call me the California Almanac guy.
Steve's been playing the game a long time. Very talented trainer. Whitney's a good dog. She's been right in the middle of it a number of times. Very difficult test. First and second birds.
Girl.
Great job. Let's see what she's got. The money bird, what it's all about. Everything comes down to this mark.
Not a good sign, though, when the handler drops the whistles out of frustration.
Things aren't going well, and he's racking up a lot of points. The judge is going to ask him to bring her in.
So there reaches a point where you just can't go any further. What did it?
I think he just ran out of gas. You know, it's tough. Just tough.
There you see the leaderboard. We've had a disqualification. Scott Greer and Candy still lead it with 37 faults.
TELLUS Calhoun, one of our favorites. He's with Blue. Blue's a new dog for him. TELLUS has just completed a move from California to Oregon. Let's see if it's helped.
Blue seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, good.
This is a hot day. Would a darker dog have a problem?
You know, it would make sense that they would. I never really thought about it. You know, the water's cool. It's probably 80, 90 degrees, but you've got a good wind.
And listen to that wind.
Yeah, it's coming. And Blue's off for a run. And TELLUS this too. He's going to go get him.
TELLUS had to go get the dog. That means Blue is disqualified. So as testimony to the toughness of this course, 2 disqualifications.
Tough scenario for TELLUS. He'll come back. Chris Brenniger along the way. Don't forget Chris Akins right behind him.
The Super Retriever Series has been brought to you by Sport Dog brand, gear the way you design it. Eukanuba, make a good dog great. Avery, welcome to your life. And by Mossy Oak, Mountaintop Custom Kennels, Sportsman's Warehouse, Stanwood Motorsports, and Splash Dog.
The High Desert Waterfowl Classic continues at Sportsman's Warehouse with Avery. Welcome to your life.
And if you're going to have a waterfowl classic, you got to have world-class waterfowl callers.
We've been putting on a duck calling contest here for the last 5 years or so, and there's been one longer than that. Anyway, Chad and I wanted to make it a more well-rounded event where it would attract more people, because the duck calling community is kind of a small part of it. So the opportunity to work with the SRS, it's been a lot of fun.
You know, Dave and Chad do an outstanding job with this venue. These guys are very serious about what they do. You see these goose callers, they're doing everything they can to get to Eastern Maryland and the World Goose Calling Championship, as are the duck callers who are doing everything they can do to get to Stuttgart, Arkansas in the World Championship in November. So it's big time, man. I mean, these guys, they're serious duck hunters out here.
And it kind of points up how it's almost like a three-ring circus at our SRS events. Meanwhile, back in the field, we've got another competition brewing that once again is providing high drama. We've got Sinbad. Chris Brenniger comes in.
Outstanding dog. Lots and lots of talent. Chris is pretty new to the SRS. This is about his third event. He's been in the thick of it every single time with multiple dogs. Outstanding trainer. Look at Sinbad. He's ready to rock, man.
Sinbad showing some nervousness there. Chris is kind of going to have to settle him down because, again, fitness is all a part of this. I tell you what, while he's looking at that, let's meet Sinbad.
His call name is Sinbad. Fits him pretty good, too, because he is bad. He's just turned 5. So he's been with me pretty much his whole life, and he's one team player. He really loves this game, loves it, and he'll do anything to get to the bird, that's for sure. You put a brick wall in front of him, he'll go through it to get to it, so I love him.
Another example of the bond that is established between the handler and the dog, and you've got to have that.
Absolutely. These guys know exactly what that dog's going to do, and the dog knows exactly what the handler's going to do. You got to think about this. These guys train 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week, about 48 to 50 weeks a year. So they know each other. I mean, they know each other better than a lot of husbands and wives.
Come on.
It's a family. That's exactly what you're looking at. All right, let's see if Sinbad can beat 37 faults. Again, we're taking the top 5 dogs.
He's not doing great work, but he's hanging in there, and he's on this money bird. And at this point, once a handler sees all the trouble that they're having, they just want to finish. Because remember, 5 of the top 12, the 5 best scores are going to move on to the finals. So that's all you're trying to do right now is just survive.
You're actually looking at the negative part of this communication scenario in that when panic sets in on either handler or dog, the other can see. So, and that's kind of happening here with Sinbad.
Hanging in there, he's not on his A game right now, but again, all Chris is trying to do is survive. He's got that big blind coming. He knows there's some openings in there. We've had a couple dogs already disqualify. So I mean, the odds are getting better and better and better because remember that wind's coming. That wind is coming, and when it does, there's going to be a reckoning.
Sounds ominous. He's trying to find his dog.
He moves pretty good for a big guy.
Yeah.
Nice little vertical there. I mean, that had to be 13 and a half inches, didn't it?
Who said white men can't jump?
That's right. He's hanging.
Well, he's past the 37 fault mark. Now he just wants to keep it minimal damage.
He's hanging. 49. Come on, Sinbad. Dig it out for him. Oh, he's right there beside the blind. Come on, buddy. Just look.
Little direction.
There you go.
How could he not see that? He was that close.
Little disappointed, but not too frustrated. It was just a matter of measuring the distance.
He decided he was going to Reno. I shouldn't have told him he was in Reno.
Oh, here we go, Chris Aiken and Thorne. He can put it together. Probably the most consistent dog that Chris Aiken has ever run. He'll tell you that this is the best all-around retriever he's ever trained. And he's trained about 3,500 of them.
Oh, gosh, we've talked to him so many times, interviewed him on this show, and he knows so much, and yet learns something with every run.
Thorne is 6 years old, a lot of talent, very well trained, good marking dog. good handling. I mean, he's pretty good at everything. He's kind of along that boomer mode that Chris had for years.
No.
Not great, but he'll work with you. He's not the most talented, but he's pretty good at everything.
Hard.
Only 4 faults so far.
Rocking along pretty solid. If you'll notice, Chris was kind of lining him up there. Not where he wants to be. And don't believe for a second that Chris doesn't understand this game. He knows that there are 2 guys that have qualified. He knows what their scores are and knows that there's a pile of guys who've disqualified. He's just trying to get in that top 5. Let's see if this gamble with that early handle pays off.
Yep. When you say early handle, he was going for the short one?
No, actually, he handled early in the line. He didn't give the dog a chance to hunt. He was going to go ahead and put him on the bird. Now, he's got 34. If he has a strong blind here, he made the right decision. If he doesn't have a good blind here, he may be kicking himself later.
Early handle means putting the dog on line.
Exactly. He put him back on line instead of giving the dog a chance to come up with the bird on his own. He put him right on the bird.
That's another way to save energy, too, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you have long retrieves.
But remember, you're racking up a lot of points. I mean, a mark is the dog's responsibility. And look at this, is not going the way he wanted it to go, I promise you.
And you can bet every one of these handlers has the math in their heads. They've got a little scoreboard that's clicking in their head, and they know right where they stand most times.
That wind's picking up a little bit at a time. It's getting tougher. This test has gone from being a 7 to an 8 to a 9 and may end up as a 10.
They're just glad to have it over with. Let's see what Chris Aiken does to show you the scoreboard with his dog Thorn. 3rd place, top 5 go. A real severe test. It will continue next week when we have the 2nd round of the semifinals. You've got to be here. The High Desert Waterfowl Classic from Reno, Nevada on the Super Retriever Series.